hope that you all had a great lunch. Okay, today we actually have with us, right, a very very special person. Of course, you know that his name is Avim, and he has been reaching out to me to always been asking me questions, asking me how to actually do his business and everything. And today I'm actually really glad, right, to actually have him here today to share with us, right, how he actually managed to actually clock 250 more than 250,000 worth of commissions. Okay, at the same time, right, acquiring his first rose diamond. And I believe, right, a lot of you all might not know Avim. So just to share with you guys, right, Avim is just few years in the business, and initially when he started off, it was really really just a leap of faith. He was actually not doing really well, very well. And I remember we had this conversation, right, Avim, that he was actually doing like what HDB and a lot of other ching chong deals lah.
Yes, yeah.
And yeah, and then I remember this conversation very vividly because, right, he just had no direction. And shortly after we spoke, I'm just really very glad that he actually achieved this kind of tremendous result, because it just shows that it just gives me a lot of confidence and faith, right, in this business of real estate. I mean, for us being in real estate, right, a lot of times, we have to actually motivate ourselves, and it's not easy. And that's the reason why, right, you can see that there's such a high dropout rate. So for Avim himself, I believe that he's really very self-motivating, and at the same time, right, he knows where the market is going, and that's the reason why he have actually achieved this kind of results. Prior to this, we actually had a meet up at a coffee place, and we actually shared about his directions for the coming year, and at the same time, what are the things that he's supposed to do, and what are the things that he would want to actually share with you guys. Because end of the day, right, what I want, right, is for you all to actually have a great takeaway. What we are looking at is this. This is the last month of the year. Okay, we are in December right now, right, and a lot of people are going on so-called staycation. Okay, but the reason why you guys are here, of course, some of you might want to actually feel or want to get some motivation from Avim. Some of you might be actually looking to actually find direction. You do not know what to do or how to actually do something. So that's why we actually have the pro and the expert here. Okay, for him to actually share his experience, and I hope that in this session, right, this will really inspire you to actually do something for yourself for the coming 2021. Along the way, right, you may want to actually ask him questions, and I'll be the moderator for this. So if there's any questions that you feel like asking, just feel free to just write inside the chat so that we are able to moderate and actually get Avim to actually answer as well. We also had Avim also actually promised me one thing. So that one thing, right, is that he's supposed, right, to answer every question, right, that you guys were to ask. So without further ado, let's have Avim here, okay, to share with us his great and tremendous results. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Beyond, for the introduction. Thank you so much for, sharing almost half of my story to the people over here already. But I really want to take this chance to also, thank everyone for taking this time out, to attend this webinar. You all have arranged a schedule to be here and to also listen, check it out a little bit of my sharing here. Well, just now speaking of which earlier, Beyond talk about December. Yeah, suddenly forgot that it's already December, which is the last month of 2021. So, no, 2020. We're hitting 2021 already, right? So, in fact, everyone's on a very holiday mood right now, and I think it's also a good time for us to reflect, what this 2020 is all about to us, and how we should be heading towards the 2021 direction. But today, I think, but before I start, I also introduce myself again. My name is Avim. I joined this industry back in 2017. And then again, the journey from the day where I started all the way until today, it has been a journey of the ups and downs. And I just want to take today a session to open up myself. And I hope that is okay with you all. I open up myself and I share a little bit of the joy, the pain and struggles that I faced in this real estate journey. And hopefully, I will get to inspire you guys to motivate yourself, or even to learn some tips, I would say, or some lessons that I faced, that probably you can be even more experienced moving forward, right? So so I will start to share my screen. Right, I hope this is on a full screen. Is it on a full screen? Yes, right. Okay, very interesting, because I was sharing this slide with Celine. Anyway, I want to give a thanks to PG Management as well, to Kevin, Zach, Alex, and beyond for giving me this chance to also share at this level up. And definitely not forgetting someone behind the scene that is coordinating all this is Celine. Thank you, Celine, for arranging this level up session. Right. So yeah, I was sharing because today the slides I prepared kind of it felt to me, it didn't occur to me until someone brought it up and say, hey, your slides looks a bit like project briefing. Well, there is a reason why my slides are in this manner. Which I will share more of you. Okay. So okay, so a little bit about myself. I used to, okay, so real estate is not my first career after I finished my NS. Okay, every guys, you know, when we finish our studies, we'll go to NS. So it wasn't my first job when I finished my service. So I studied in architecture back then in my school days. So I major or I specialize in this thing called the landscape architecture, which a lot of people we ask, well, what is landscape architecture? But is it about landscape? No, it's not about landscape. Basically, what I do last time in my corporate days is we work alongside architect. So the architect build the buildings. We're the one that comes in to do out the aesthetic part. So we are like the plastic surgeon of the whole architecture aspect. So I worked there for about 6 years, right? 6 years, I got involved in self with a lot of different projects, mainly all local projects. Then it was a very good learning curve for me because during these 6 years when I was working in corporate, I get to already mingle with developers, architects, contractors, or even developers. So it was so this field was also not something that I was my first choice of studies lah. So you know, during back then when we had to select our faculty to choose what we need to study, in fact this landscape architecture wasn't my first choice. I was more into business. I want to study business, but I don't know how it turns out. But I always believe that be it whatever outcome is always meant for the greater purpose. So to cut the long story short, I studied LA. And then after 6 years, I kind of grew tired of my full-time job because I'm doing like the same thing over and over again, like designing concept, thinking of ideas. So it kind of feel mundane. And that is where I left and I set up my own design consultancy firm. So in fact, to put it very plainly, I run everything myself. I hire people, I do stuff. It wasn't easy as a business owner, and but things have to just go through. Sometimes I face obstacles, but I know that it still has to, you still need to persevere. But my this design consultancy firm was initially it was from architecture, and slowly I moved down into general arts and design. That is where I start to explore other parts of designing really. Then along the way, I found one of my like-minded entrepreneur. Then we launched our own very different style of design. We are no longer in the built environment. We end up doing something that is jewelry instead. Right, so we created our own range of bespoke personalized jewelry, and until now we are still running. But for real estate, that is where I really channel most of my time, or I would say I'm a full-time real estate advisor, because that was the promise I gave to myself, that if I want to do something, I will go out to do it. So the jewelry business is still running very strong because my other partner is the main one that is running it. But real estate is something that I channel my full-time focus, career, all in it. So 2017 was a year, was a game changer for me, in fact, because I was in the midst of deciding what I should do next. So I joined real estate in 2017. That was in May. But it wasn't an easy choice because I was facing a lot of fears. What kind of fear? Because before I joined real estate, I did went around to ask some of my architects friends, ask some of my very close friends. I say, hey, I'm going to join real estate. Do you think it's a good move for me? Um, Out of 10, I can be very honest. 8 of them said that I need to think twice before I join the real estate. Well, if at the point of time I will listen to my 8 of my friends that say you should think twice, I probably wouldn't be exploring so much in my life or myself today, or even to know where I can reach, where is my potential. So the thoughts and fears are very natural, and I believe that every one of you that is watching the screen right now, I'm very pretty sure that you definitely have a certain phase or season in your life where you encounter such fears. And this fears is so natural that everyone will go through. So when I join real estate, a lot of people say that, oh, this property business is saturated already, a very common concern. Or wow, this property market is very complicated, very political. So, but to me at the point of time, I also definitely did my research, and I already have an answer for myself. I just want affirmation from my friends. So 8 out of 10 was not an answer that's favorable to me. But I know that I have to take the leap of faith. So a lot of people. So when I made up my choice, and I decided to go for the RES exam, a lot of people was questioning me, whether am I making the right life choice or not? Because back then, 2017, I was 29 years old, right? And then it was kind of like the peak of my career, where I could either stay back in my corporate job and I can continue to rise through the rank to hit another level. But then again, that wasn't the path that I want to. And it was very tough. So I remember the last person I consulted before I joined real estate was my brother. In fact, he's my younger brother, but most of them thought he is my older brother. You next time if you have a chance to see me and my brother together, you will be pretty sure that he looks like my older brother. But he is someone that I always confide with, and he's someone that gives very sound and wise advice. So the advice that he gave me that really made my mind to really start on this way, I said was he tell me, say, Avim, you have still a few more decades to go, and now if you don't make a choice that your heart tells you to do, you might regret probably in the next 2 decades or 3 decades down the years. So he always tell me, what is the worst thing that can happen? So your worst thing can happen is if you don't do well, right? You can always go back to a corporate job again and restart everything. Yes, you will definitely have to suffer a setback or a pay cut, but at least you have already tried. So I think this was the advice. This was a golden advice that really gave me a very good foundation, or I say a very good cornerstone on my beliefs that we should really go out and try, and not let our fears cripple us. So when I thought about that, I pondered about it, then I decided to really go out and I took the RES exam. So everyone that went through the RES phase, the taking the 2 papers, we know it is wow, it's a pain in the neck. Really, it's a pain in the neck. I study very hard for it, and I didn't expect the papers to be so tough, even tougher than all the other papers that I took when I was studying for my architecture. But it was worth it because I know that all these things are going to apply to me next time, or kind of apply to me next time even if I practice in real estate or I don't practice in real estate. I remember I studied really, really hard for the papers. And my brother, my brother is very good in academics. I am not very good in academics, but I am good in practical stuff. So, but RAS exam, there is nothing called you're good in practical stuff, ma. You need to pass the theory before you can practice, ma. Right? So I studied very hard, and my brother even swan me. He kind of swan me in a nice way. He said that, wow, I never see you study so hard before. If you were to study like this, I think that probably you will be like a doctor or whatever. But what makes me study very hard, because I know that I need to pass the exam. Then I can realize the next step, which is to be a real estate agent. So that was my thoughts and fears. So once I passed my papers, I was very happy that, yeah, I passed it the first time. Then the next question would be, who should I join, right? For me, I'm a very research guy. I always read up first. So in fact, before I joined real estate, or during the interview when I was thinking, should I take the papers, I already know this group called Preeminent Group. Through my circle of friends, through people that's very close to me, I know Preeminent Group. Why? Because I think the branding itself already has established a certain authority in the social media. So I chanced about ERA and Preeminent Group. And the reason why I joined ERA and Preeminent Group is very simple, nothing very complex. To me is when I join a company, I need to join someone who has brand authority, that's first thing, who has a company structure and has a very good support. So it basically just take 3 of my checklist, and I felt that until today, I still made the right choice to be in ERA and to be Preeminent Group. And I'm super happy to see Preeminent Group really growing. And I think all credits to the PG leaders, Kevin, Alex, Beyond, and Zach, for really churning out so much ideas to grow and to benefit all of us. Okay, so the journey, in fact, today I will take about an hour or an hour and a half to share about my journey, but I wanted to put it in a way where it's not too complex for you to understand, but it's also relevant for me to share. So the journey, basically, I kind of summarize it in 4 points, which if you attended the last session where Beyond shared about this slide, it really hits me a lot. And I think he just made my job easier. And to summarize, these 4 phases of a realtor. And I feel that everyone will go through this stage, because me, myself, I went through this stage. And it always gives me a very good checklist on myself to see which stage am I at and what am I supposed to do next. So the first phase is when we join the industry, we are very how to say, we're very clueless, right? We are very inexperienced, and we have no knowledge about what to do, what to say. I still remember the first time when I have to meet my first client. I literally just go there. I just tell the client that, okay, I'll be driving down to a house to talk more about you. But when on my way there, right, I have no idea what I'm going to talk. It's like you know you are supposed to get an exclusive, you're supposed to get a listing, but when you go there, you're just mind blank, right? But that was a very good experience, which I will share more later. So this is the first phase everyone goes through. I don't know what I don't know, right? And it's nothing wrong. I always feel that this first phase is also a very fun phase, because it feels like the second day in class, right? Why is it not the first day in class? Because usually first day in class is always like orientation. You just follow a teacher only, just orientation, go and see the playing field, go and see the basketball court, nothing on. It's just orientation. But second day is where you see each other, you see the girl beside you, you see the guy beside you, you don't know who's the person in front of you also. So you are very clueless. But that's fine. Because it is a phase everyone goes through, be it you are in any industry or any age. Then that is where you want to learn and want to move yourself up to the next level. And that is where you start to know what I don't know. But however, I realized back then in my corporate days and also in real estate, I realized that sometimes we might fall ourselves in this situation called I still remain in the I don't know what I don't know. If you remain in the I don't know what I don't know, I feel that it is ignorant really. You are not motivated to learn. But when you're motivated to learn, right, then you will start to move to the second phase to identify what are the things that you're unaware. And that is the part where I felt Preeminent Group and ERA is very, very strong at, because they have so many amazing leaders who craft up, thousands of hours, to create trainings like eminence training, HDB eminence training, private eminence, there's so many trainings that will benefit all of us. And that is where we need to be very self-motivated to learn, to push ourselves to understand things better. So this is the second phase. And then once you know a second phase, right, you start to apply, right? Apply. And that is where I realized that this third phase of our season will be I grow and know and it starts to show. Sometimes it doesn't show immediately. It will take time. So I always call this phase 3 like a season of patience game. Why? Because sometimes you know everything. You know how to do prospecting, you know how to do LP, you know how to do like how to take very good photography, right? Then, but you are still not closing something or you are not getting an offer. So that is also a patience game. But during this patient game, what are you going to do about it? So I always think that in phase 3, if I do sum it up in a very simple words, it's actually called trust the process. You just have to trust the process, and then eventually it's a matter of time where you will see your results. And then the last part is where you pay forward, you duplicate success, right? You start to give, you start to grow because of whatever you know and what you have tasted. So I felt that these four boxes, right, really kind of sum up a journey of everyone, including myself as well, of in real estate. Okay, so let me share with you something more how to say more personalized to in terms of my career. I believe that everyone, if you're in the real estate, be it you just join probably say a few months or you are in this real estate for a few years, there's definitely certain deals that is always most memorable. And that is when, on the hindsight, when we think about it either will make you very happy or either will make you very sad or emotional. So I just want to share with you, be very vulnerable and be very open to share with you some of basically two of my most memorable deal in my career. Okay, so this picture you are seeing right now is in fact is a HDB 5-room flat. It's actually in Bugis. Right. So this place, whenever I see this picture, right, I can still I was always remember the owner's emotions when I brought in a check to them. So a little background about this picture. This house, this 5-room HDB, right, it's the first owner until now. So it didn't change hand. The first owner bought directly from HDB. And that it has always been a place where all their family members will gather at their mother's place. So basically, it's the mother that stay here. They'll gather every weekend and they will do potluck every weekend over at this place. So somehow I also know this owner children as well. So sometimes I will also know that, oh, their family are very close knitted. So after that, I would say a few years back, right? Or I'll say not a few years back, I'll say 1 or 2 years. The mom passed on, right? And when the mom passed on and the mom made a will that she wants to sell this flat, and the children had a very tough decision whether to keep this flat or had to sell it away. But they want to respect their mom's will to just sell the place, liquidate the place, and just co-share the in terms of the cash proceeds with all the children and grandchildren. So initially they marketed this slightly above the market price, but I managed to bring an offer check in 1.5 months at the expected price they want. So this is a time where I really felt so emotional. I felt that, wow, should I even bring the check to show them or not? So when I brought the check to them, I said that I got a check and I got a price that you wanted. And I remember seeing the brothers, the three brothers really well up in tears, and they're happy definitely because they got a good price. But I think sometimes we are not talking about just dollar and cents, we're talking about the value of the property. So this value of this property is about the 40 years of memories shared in this area. So it was very emotional. I also, whenever I'm in tears, and especially guys, when you tear, it means, it's something that, wow, I don't know. I think when guys tear is something so hard for us to express, but there's so much stories to see and to tell, when someone's really, a guy really tear. So yeah, but in the end they were quite steady lah. So they didn't tarry it back or what, they really went on. So this was a place that I always remember. But we got in a good buyer. They appreciate the place, and it was a place nice remembering. So what I did for this property, right? Okay, so one thing that so I was thinking what I can value add to my customers or this owner, because they love this place so much. So I still remember when I sold this place was near to Christmas, not this year, probably 1 or 2 years back. So I was thinking, what can I get for this client? So usually what we think is we will buy voucher law, correct? We will buy certain hamper to give to our clients. So for this one, I have to thank Jeanette, one of my associates that gave me this idea. She suggested to me to create this booklet. This booklet where you can open up and there is a different tier. So she asked me to just print out very nice, high quality, high res pictures that I took using my professional photo camera. Let's print it out and just create a very nice booklet for them. So I did that, and I sent this to their children, and I was very touched when they tell me that they appreciated this gesture. So this is one thing that I did to give them the best memories out from this property. Okay, so this is one of my most memorable deal. The second one would be this property. So just now what we talk on the residential HDB part. So this is my one of my most memorable deal in my career. This is in fact the deal that got me my first Centurion as well. But this deal was a very hard fought deal. I remember that I almost gave up hope selling this place. This deal just reminds me like a roller coaster emotions. Okay, so little background about this story. This is actually a commercial property, and the owner wanted a price that is 1 million above the market price. And you want 1 million above the market price is something that I feel that buyers will not buy. But then again, they invited me to sell. So I went on board. So I went through marketing. I did all kinds of marketing that probably some of you are even doing much better than me, right? So I marketed it, and I managed to find a buyer to offer for this price. So I found a buyer offer for this price, and I remember, I can still remember like yesterday. I still remember that when I found this buyer, I arranged with the buyer to meet somewhere around the area at 12 p.m. Right, so the buyer reached early. He reached at 11:50 a.m. But I was on my way there to make it at 12 p.m. appointment. So on my way there, right, when I was to reach at 12 p.m., the buyer told me that they already seen the place. So I believe for you guys out there, you have know what will have happened already, right? So it happened to have another so-called GTA agents that was strolling around there, and they also happened to bump into one of the owners there, and then he kind of smoked his way in and managed to get my buyers to see the property. So I mean, this part is really quite disappointing already. But the bigger disappointment was this buyer actually offer for this unit. So so in fact, this property was asking above 6 mil, um, and then the buyer offered in a price that is not above 6 mil definitely. He offered at 5 million in fact, right, which is a fair market value there. So sometimes that was a point of time where I felt that wow, my whole world like tumbles down, man, crush, because I really marketed it so hard and I really wanted to close it, but then uh, someone just cut into a queue and just grab everything. So the buyer offered 5 mil, and I tell myself GG already lor. But the owner rejected the offer. So rejected offer, what is your feeling right now? Your feeling is like, wow, hey, the owner never accept, means I got a chance to find another buyer. But I didn't stop there. The buyer offered again. He moved up. He moved up his notch to 5.3. Wow, that is when my heart went out, again and said, wow, Liao, again. So 5.3 rejected. Okay. And then they tried one last time, 5.5. So we know that this buyer is really sincere in buying. So they offered 3 times at 5, 5.3, 5.5. But amazingly, right, all these offers didn't got accepted. And then I definitely also spoke to the owner, and I also established a certain kind of the working style that I wanted for in this unit. So, but I know this unit is going to be a very hard time to sell, and getting this kind of offer, even at 5.5, I think is really a very good offer. So I continue marketing it. I still remember I spoke to 2 persons to consult about this. I consulted on Kevin, also consulted on Jasmine Jie, and consulted on Maria on this. And they gave me some very good advice. And that is when shortly after that, another buyer came in. And this buyer came in, they took a look around the place. It was quite fast, about 10 minutes. And then they say, I think this place is not bad, but I need to wait for my boss to take a look. So I thought that, oh, very simple, just arrange another time. But then I realized that this boss is based overseas. The headquarters is in overseas. And then for the boss to fly to Singapore, it probably will take about another 2 weeks. So that is where I really start to think of ways, how do I escalate this whole process and probably, get an offer out from this buyer. So in the end, I managed to talk to their directors, and the directors was also quite amazing. I also don't know how it happened also. The boss, so I remember that was a Friday they came to see, and then the next Monday they tell me the boss is already in Singapore. So wow, so we can see the boss was very motivated. He flew in from Australia, and then he take a look and he offer on the spot. Wow, so we thought that offer on the spot very good. So the next question would be, what is the offer price, right? They wanted above 6 mil. So as expected, they didn't offer exactly at the asking price or close to asking price. They offered somewhere around the 5.7 to 5.8, which I know will be going to be tough because this owner is not hard up for cash. They just feel that if the price is right, then I'll just let go. So I remember I brought in the offer to them, which I also kind of felt that it will be rejected. So when I brought the offer check to the owner at 5.65 million, I went in not very confidently, but I just have the trust and the peace in my heart that something is going to work out. So I believe in my real estate journey, one thing that I also learned on my belief is sometimes you just have to do your very, very best. right? You do whatever you can, and things that you cannot do, you just need to have faith. This is always a reminder to myself. So I have faith, I pray about it, and then I present it to one of the directors. Then the directors tell me that ultimately the call is still with the chairman. So and then when we wanted to talk to the chairman flew to Luxembourg. So it was a very long conversation, uh, and I didn't pin high hope, but I just trust. So to cut a long story short, the chairman in the end, he accepted my offer at 5.65, which I never expected it. Right. So, this was very memorable because why I say memorable, because it wasn't a very easy deal for me to go through. I still remember I was a bit depressed when I got undercut by agent, and then the offer that came in wasn't an offer that I think will close. But sometimes, all these kind of obstacles, right, are fears in our mind really, where it really will hinder us and just decrease our performance level. But then again, we need to be very aware of these obstacles so that we know how to move forward. So these are the two memorable deals in my career. And if I can summarize the ups and downs, right? I felt that recognizing the ups and downs in life are in fact the catalyst for growth. Um, a lot of people, or so not a lot of people, some of my friends I spoke to, or some of the some associates, or some people that I want to recruit them in, they always ask me this question: what is the biggest regret you have in your life? This one a common question. Probably you also have it. I always tell them this answer. I say there's no regret in life, one, because sometimes you really have to. I mean, we talk about the upsides, right? The upsides about real estate is what? It's about closing deals, getting an offer check, or you got a new listing from a friend, or it just dropped from the sky, and some listing. These are the upsides, right? And then you close a deal, you have a commission, you have your paycheck. Wow, this is really like the adrenaline rush in your career, right? But then again, sometimes there's a song. I always remember this song that the lyrics say, "What goes up must come down," right? And I always felt that it's always very relatable to like a roller coaster. What goes up must come down, because if you stay up most of the time, you don't come down, you don't have that kind of shookness, of going down, and you go up again. So what are the downsides of a real estate? Personally, to me, is I find that sometimes it occurs to me before my offer got rejected, or no, like the previous one that I shared with you all, the agent undercut me, or your clients just just got upset, or suddenly say, I don't want to sell, or you sometimes you got play up, or your trust is being misused in a certain area, then resulted in bad experience. All these are the downsides of life, or sometimes also in our career. So for me, I realized that one of the downside I have in my real estate for one season of my life was, I recognized it was I become very complacent. This is one thing that I've learned, and it still is a very timely reminder for myself to not be in that situation. So what happened was, when I got my Centurion, right? I was definitely very euphoric. I was very happy about it. And then that season of my life, I started to be very complacent really. Well, and I thought that I don't know how to handle this kind of probably say money, and also the kind of the success. So I become very complacent, and that is where I start to focus on the wrong things. And that is where I really see a dip in my performance really, and it kind of spiraled down. So is it something that I regretted? No, I don't think I regretted on that, because it just makes me remember, or it really etched in my heart that this is a season that I never want to be in, because I've learned. So so I realized that I will or I'll say every one of us here, that sometimes we only know how to appreciate the ups until we have been through some downs or valley in our life. And I think that's very important because it will make us tougher, mature us as well, and make us wiser. So, I mean, so if you are in the down season of a life, or you're in a season right now that you need a certain motivation, just remember and turn all this downside and negative side in the positive aspect. And I think everything is all in the mind, which I always tell myself this point thing is the greatest battle is not fought in the war zone. The greatest battle is always fought in your mind. And I felt that this battlefield of mine, it couldn't be any better to describe it, because every day we are always having this battle. And I think this year 2020 it has been the biggest hit, not only in Singapore but also in the entire world. I have friends around me that got retrenched. I have friends around me that also was very affected by the recession, right? But I also have friends that is doing much and much better. I've seen people in pre-eminent group that's doing much and much better. But why is there a disparity? So I realized that sometimes it's not about the techniques, or or like are you doing this this strategy or that. But I think most of it is always in our mind. So I always call this battlefield of mine is like the toughest games of all season in any industry. Be you in the real estate industry or you are in any industry, I feel that this is the toughest game. So I remember one wise man told me before that be very careful of what you think. Be very careful of what you think, because your thoughts are the ones that will run your life, right? And so the first thing that we decide whether we are going to win or we're going to lose this battle is in our mindset, is in our thinking really. So I always remind myself, or I want to say children. You know why I say children? It's because what I won't say this is my sideline, but this is more on a volunteering job. That every Sunday I will teach children from P5, P6. Yeah, I'll teach them some motivation. So this is one topic that I always love to share with them. Is you always need to be the commander and not the soldier, right? You need to commander means you take the lead. You take the lead and you control your thoughts. So talking about this, one of the things that no one can change is the lockdown period, right? I applaud really ERA and PMN Group for crafting so much ideas, to expose ourselves to our clients, even we are home based. But this lockdown, to me personally, was also a time where I self-reflected myself on what are the things that is going wrong, or what are the things that I've been missing out. And this was a track of self-discovery really. And I realized that the biggest discovery is not about my strategy. It's not about the things that I do, but it's about my mindset really. I realized that the mindset was the one that spiraled me all the way down. I start to worry a lot. Okay. And I think worrying in this part is everyone will sure worry one. Every day we face this thing called the worry. So I think the anxiety, the worry part is something that that really affected me. And thankfully, I also have outlets for me to really share, and someone to really advise me very well on this mindset. So if I have to summarize two things that really hits me and make me walk out from this low season of my real estate, was someone said it so well. You say worrying, right, doesn't do any good to you, but certainly more harm, because all it does is to hurt you and to distract you, right? Sometimes you worry that, oh, why people are closing, or why people are doing this and this, and then why am I not doing? Then you start to worry, you start to not have confidence in yourself really. So I feel that worrying is no point. Yes, sometimes we need to plan, but things that is beyond our control, you don't have to worry. So because worry doesn't empty I believe that worry doesn't empty tomorrow's trouble, right? But what it does is to empty today's strength, where you have to focus and know what's the next step. So I feel battlefield of mind is something that really was a very important thing to me lah. And if you guys want to know more about battlefield of mind, I think there's a book that's written. It's also called Battlefield of Mind. I read the book, and I encourage you guys, if you have a time, if you are a reader or you have plans to start reading, go check out this book. It's a very good book. All right. So being through all the roller coaster, the ups and downs, and I also have one conclusion is experience is not what happens to you. It's about what you do with what happens to you, right? It sounds a bit, I don't know whether it's cheap or what, but I felt it's so relatable once you start to digest and understand it deeper. So I feel that in every situation that you go through, right, that is definitely something that you will pick up from it, that you will learn, and then that is where you start to grow. I always tell myself that, or I because I read and I read usually motivational books, and I saw this phrase that was so real and so hard truth. It says that everybody wants to be an overcomer, but nobody wants anything to overcome. I repeat that again. Everybody wants to be an overcomer, but nobody wants anything to overcome, which is very true, right? We want to achieve this and that, but then you don't want the test of life to come near to you. But you need these trials of life to come near to you in order for you to get experience. So I felt that this really speaks to me. So basically, I'm just sharing things that not very fanciful, but it's something that's very relatable to me. And hopefully that whatever that I felt it has helped me, I just want to share with you. And hopefully you can be inspired or probably learn something from this. All right. So the next part I'm going to talk about is the biggest lessons I've learned in the biggest deal of my real estate career to date. Okay, so so a lot of people, some people ask me what I did to close my rose diamond. In fact, I closed a few sale and I closed a few rental to achieve my rose diamond. But I just want to pick up one of the deals that I thought was very significant to me, and it also wowed me in a certain way, because you know, back then when PMM Group launched a series of achievements like Centurion, Infinite, then the what's it, Insignia Cup and the Ultimate Cup, right? It was very inspiring. And then I always think the first thing I thought to myself is, how can I achieve a Centurion? Then the next part is, how can I achieve the Infinite? I just remember at the point of time there was this guy that like managed to take these 3 cups, and then eventually someone that took all the cups, and I was so inspired. And I tell myself, wow, they all must be damn strong in terms of network, or they must be closing very big deals, extraordinary deals in order to achieve such a milestones. But lo and behold, I realized that one of the most significant deal in my this small achievement is I closed one of the biggest deal, I would say, in terms of quantum. Is actually, in fact, comes from my rental. Right, I closed one of the biggest quantum of it was a rental. I closed a grade A office building, and it never occurs to me that closing a rental, which I felt personally to me was not something that our rental probably is a very small quantum stuff. But I realized that sometimes whatever you think might not happen, right? Sometimes whatever things that you don't think, it might happen. So this happens to me. So it just taught me something that all deals are important. Sales are important. Rental are also equally important. But we always need to prepare ourselves for the time where opportunities knocks. For example, if you today you are very focused on sale, you just want to learn sale, but you don't want to do rental. because probably you think a rental is not important, right? Then you realize that when opportunities knocks, right, you're not ready for it. So yeah, so the most one of the most significant deal I got was from a rental. It was a very big floor space that we rented. And how I got to know how I managed to handle this deal was in fact also very amazing. Uh, I got this through a networking session. So I reconnected back, you know. So the keyword is reconnection. I reconnected back with my architects friends, and I just want to. It really wasn't with any agenda. I just met them up over like meal to catch up each other, and to catch up, how everyone is coping with their, circuit breaker, the standard topic. And then that is when one of them told me that their bosses are looking to expand their business and they want a bigger office space. It's just like very normal conversation, and then that is where we link up. And definitely by linking up, it's just only one step. The next step would be what am I going to do with this? So definitely, uh, you have to ace, or I'll say you have to really work yourself to prove that you're worthy for them to engage your service. So I managed to build the confidence, and they felt really comfortable working with me because sometimes, right, all this kind of grade office of certain deals, right, they could have just go directly to the developer or the owners, right? But they decided to go through you. So it starts to also makes me think why some people knows that they have an option to go directly, but they choose not to, but they want to go through you. So that is where I know that wow, I study and I also speak to some top achievers. I realize that sometimes it's the way of us doing. Why people are so willing to pay you this money or give you this opportunity to do certain things. And and apparently this deal that I managed to help them transacted this, then I realized that their bosses um are ultra high net worth individuals, right? And this also sets me another lessons to 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 reflect on myself. Why? Because back then in my corporate days and even in real estate, I mean everyone here will encounter certain individuals that are probably more affluent, right? And then we try to establish ourselves in a certain way. They think we think that they would probably want us to be. But this time I did differently. Why? Because experience taught me something, right? And experience taught me that lessons that you just need to be true to yourself. You just need to be very authentic. And sometimes we don't have to be too fanciful. We just need to be bold enough, be courageous enough to be the person that we are in front of them. And I felt that this is something we sometimes neglected. So I felt that this really holds true. And I believe that the whole transaction in end, how I built my confidence with them is I really stay true to myself. I didn't try to be someone that I want to be to impress them. I didn't did just to impress them. I just did according to what I think is correct and right. So because of that, they really felt comfortable uh, working with me. And then the second thing that I did and I learned was I go the extra mile. Um, what's the meaning of going an extra mile? Going an extra mile means doing things that people don't usually do, or we call it the value adding stuff. So I can give you probably one of the things that usually sometimes I will do is uh, for example, if a person get uh, a space, be it a residential space, an office space, what can we value add to them, right? We definitely will present whatever we need to present, but what are the intangible things that they probably cannot see, but you can identify? So that is where probably I also leverage certain aspect from my architecture background. But I feel that you don't need to be an architect or you need to be a designer in order for you to know that I felt that everyone has their own expertise. Even if today you are in finance, you're in business, or in engineering, there's always something for you to leverage on. So use that thing and make it be a value-adding service for you to reach out to your, your clients. And I know that they will definitely appreciate it. All right. So this picture, I felt that it was something so the graphics is first thing, the graphics itself really speaks 1,000 words really, right? The problem value scale. So I believe some of you have really seen before, and I felt that this is something that we should always direct ourselves. Um, the a lot of people want to have small problem or don't have any problem in their life or maybe say in their real estate. But I always tell myself that small problems, right, a lot of people can solve it, right? But what is the value of solution? It's only, you see, there only one bar, one penny only. But as you move out to the medium problem, right, you have some people that drop out, right? But your value of solution, you up another level already. You have 2 penny, right? Then when you go to the biggest problem size, right, that is where you see a lot of people drop out already. The quantity of solvers drop out to three of them, right? But your value of solution is very high, right? So this is so I have to put it very layman, right, term is this picture that I'm seeing right now is something that differentiate between a GP, a general practitioner, and a specialist. Why? For the same amount, the same time amount that you spend in consultation, both charges differently. Why? One, you go to a normal hospital and one you go to a private hospital is different. Why? Because it solves different things. And you have a specialist, they solve things that is bigger, that is more intrinsic, and I think people really wants this kind of problem solver. So, and I think this one is something that we always should remind ourselves that we should be able to solve not only big problem, we should be able to solve all kinds of problems as an advisor. And I think because of Preeminent Group and because of their structure, their training, right, it really encompasses all kinds of trainings to equip us to serve different kinds of problems. And I think in Preeminent Group, we have a very good culture of sharing one another. So I always feel comforted that when I have any issues, I can really approach anyone to speak to. And I think once you have this value scale in mind, it gives you a very good reason to justify why you should deserve your client paying you that 2% or even more, because you are here to solve their big problem. Okay, so I need to thank Beyond because he was the one that really that gave me some directions on how to go about sharing my slides as well. So one of the things that he thought that it would be very beneficial for me to share was also goals and directions. In fact, I'm not here to tell you what are goals and direction that you should set for yourself, but I will share what's my goals and direction that I will always do it. I find that very useful. I did it for 2020. So I did my goals and direction in 2019. And then I crafted this thing called the STG, MTG, and LTG. Okay, what are all these three things? It basically means short-term goal, mid-term goal, and long-term goal. So how I define the tenure is I define it by 1 year, 3 year, 5 years. So in fact, I will create like a Excel spreadsheet for myself, and then I will create those checkbox button, and now I'll list the things that I want to achieve. So I'm glad that the short-term goal that I did for myself this year, 2020, I managed to achieve 80% of it. So I only thank Beyond for that because he was the one that really that set the direction and goals for me, and also all other leaders that also alongside gave me some very wise advice. So I set 1 year what I'm going to achieve in this year, and then the 3rd year and the 5th year. So you can write anything that you want. You can write like probably say you don't have to be. I mean, you can be real estate. Maybe say I want to achieve Centurion Cup, or I want to achieve my red diamond, or it can be very personal stuff like maybe I want to buff up my body, or I want to slim down, or it can be very materialistic stuff. It can be like I want to achieve my first property, or I want to buy a Hermes bag, whatever. I mean, just write things down. Just don't think too much and just write it down. Because sometimes when you think too much, you're rational. So you just write down what you want to achieve. Write as many as you want. You write it in the first year, for your 1 year goal, your third year goal, and 5th year goal. So this is how I created my own goals and directions. Nothing fanciful, but I felt that it was a very good tracker for me to know where I should be heading. And then this golden circle is something that I got this theory. I wouldn't say it's theory, but I say it's a very, very useful tips. I'm not sure if you all read this book before. It's written by Simon Sinek. He's a motivational speaker and he speaks of this thing called the golden circle. And a lot of people always ask me, how do you do your personal goal setting? In fact, nothing fanciful, exactly what I tell you, the short-term, mid-term, and long-term goal. But I felt that one level down on all these goal setting is you need to understand the core purpose of what you're setting it. So the what and the how, right, is basically, so a lot of people look at the outer circle like what are your activities, what you do. So what activities is always the things that premium group leaders always teach you, or your managers or your directors, DDs always teach you, like your prospecting, your marketing, how should you do your exclusive listing presentation. These are your activities, right? And how is, probably a formula, you have a certain way to do it. But the most important thing I felt was why. Your purpose. You have to put it very simple. Is what is your purpose of doing all this? Because your why, once you identify your why, your why will be the ultimate answers to creating your what and how. So I think the why is something that I felt was very important for me to identify what is my goal. So every time when I list my goal setting, like probably say my short-term goal, I list it down. Then I ask myself, why I want to achieve all this stuff? For who? For what? Is it for my family? Is it because I'm creating more income for a better lifestyle? You think about it, and I think every answer is so unique and personal. And so ask yourself this question: why you want to achieve your goals? So my 2 cents worth of advice for new agents, and I believe that I felt that ePremium Group really has a lot of great leaders where they have very, very good advice. But I'm just here to share my tiny word of suggestion for new agents. When I started this real estate journey, I was very petrified. Reason is I already went to the second phase where I know what I don't know. I know how to present. I know how to do exclusive listing presentation. I know how to market. But then inside me, there's always a fear. Fear that I'm inexperienced. Fear of the question when my client asks me this, how long have you been in this business? Correct? And I feel that this is always a question that troubled me when I started my real estate journey. And then that is where I read up, I ask leaders, and then I realized that seniority doesn't mean your experience. Seniority doesn't mean your experience. You are already experienced if you think you're experienced. So to put it in a value momentum is you don't have to be great to start. Greatness already started in you. You just need to believe it and you just need to do it. So a lot of times it's because we let fear cripple us, and you don't have to. You just know that you identify what the things that you don't know, you learn it, then you just do it. And as you do it, that is where you become a master in the craft that you're doing it really. So confidence is key. Just don't let the giants scare you. You definitely can move the mountains one. Right? This was okay. So this slide, right, was actually one of my short-term goals I tell myself I need to do for this year. Cause I remember when I was in 2019, I was really, I was out of shape. I don't think I'm still in shape right now, but I think I have made improvements to myself because I've tracked my own improvement. And I remember this was being shared by my associate, and apparently she got this inspiration not from her, it's from I think it was from Beyond. Yes, she said it's from Beyond. He said that if you can't even change your body, right? Stop telling me you want to change your life. It's a right smack on my face to tell me that, stop telling me that you want to make big goals or big dreams, do things that you can change, which is change your body, right? So I felt that what this words and advice is trying to tell us is to have discipline on ourselves, right? I mean, yes, it's important for us to chong for our personal sales, right? But you also need to have discipline for a lot of other things. So one of it is to also stay fit, to stay calm. Because when you stay fit, right, then you have a clearer mind. You have clearer mind, then you'll be more positive, and then you want to do things much better, and then you always try to improve yourself. So I felt that this aspect is something that we can't neglect. So apart from just keeping yourself fit, I think most importantly is always to feed your mind with knowledge, because people always buy you because they buy your knowledge, what you can help them solve. And I always felt that people who have the most knowledge are the ones that people will really respect. Okay, then this is about I remember this was a graph that I first heard it in one of the camps, ERA camps, and Kevin was the one that shared this graph, and it always also gave me a very timely reminder of what are my priorities, to keep me in check what are my priorities. So self-management, in fact, if I had to sum it up, it's called self-management. I'm not talking about just time. I'm also talking about finances, work aspect, or fitness aspects, right? So there's nothing called like time management or finance management. There's only something called self-management, because we are managing ourselves. So I thought that this graph is very important for us to know which one should come first, the sequence of it. And if you realize that certain things that is urgent and important, right, then you just do it now. So usually for me, how do I chart this is I will list down um, the stuff that I need to do for that day, right? And then I will prioritize it according to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I will say I'll do it. All right. So usually my number 1 or number 2 are the stuff that is the most fearful one, or the thing that I dread the most to do it. But I always reminded that you just have to eat the frog. You just need to do the most toughest stuff. Once you have really overcome the toughest stuff or the things that you dread the most, right, you have really conquered your fear, then the rest are peanuts to you. So self-management, I think is very important. And then I chanced upon this, and I think it was so good to me. If I can do a job in 30 minutes, it's because I've spent 10 years learning how to do that in 30 minutes. So you owe me for the years and not for the minutes. So what it means is basically you only get better and better in your self-management. As you progress and you understand yourself better, right, you practice it, and you practice, and remember that you need to practice correctly as well. I always remember what Kevin said also, you need to practice it perfectly. Practice doesn't make perfect, you need to practice it perfectly. So don't practice until you get it right, but practice until you cannot get it wrong. I think that's the most important thing for me lah. Okay. So coming to the tail end of my sharing is, what are the common myths that hinder your success, or my success when I was having that season of my life? I'm always reminded of this picture, and I'm going to share with this picture. This picture, just seeing this picture alone, for me, it really speaks 1,000 words, because I know the story, and I'm going to share with you a story. So I hope that it also will inspire you. So, ta-da! Yeah, this is a picture that I always ingrained in myself, that I'm the small guy, right? And in front of me is a super big giant, right? For some people that have read this story before, the book title, okay, I'll say the chapter of this book is called David and Goliath. I think I would believe 80% of y'all know what is the story about, David and Goliath. So my children, okay, so Sunday usually my children always ask me about this story. I always tell them about this thing where King Saul told David You know, so King Saul is basically a king lah, okay, to be relevant, King Saul. So King Saul always thought that Goliath was a giant that his best soldier or his best warrior cannot defeat one. So he himself is already afraid. But then there's this guy, right, called David, right? But David is a man of faith, you know. He's not scared. Man, you always think that Goliath is so easy to defeat. So you see, King Saul has a different mindset already. King Saul thinks that there is a mountain in front of him. But David thought that he's just too good. He's just too big for me to miss. So in fact, this is always a reminder for myself to remind me that actually, in fact, once you have mastered all the technical skill sets, you know, the biggest fear, which has a fallback to what I've shared earlier, is a battlefield of the mind. It's about what is the fear you have in your mind right now, right? So this story ends up David, in the end, he slayed this Goliath, which is a giant, and he didn't use any extraordinary weapon. He didn't use cannon. He didn't use missile. He used a sling, right, and also a stone, and he just killed this giant. So, I mean, this story was very amazing for me, and it reminded me that sometimes we have to do it afraid, even we feel fearful, but you just have faith and you just go out. Right, and I thought that one thing that I always tell myself is go back to the basics. Don't complicate stuff. Keep it very simple. You trust the process. Sometimes things don't show now, but that is where your faith comes to it already, ma. You keep doing the fundamentals. You keep doing what you know is right, right? So you know that prospecting is important, do it. If you know that marketing is important, do it. You know that closing, you have not been pitching a closing script, pitch it. So keep it simple, go to the basic, and have faith. Why I show this? How I show this tunnel is relevant because I every time tell my friends and my associates is you need to have faith and trust the process. Then they say, what do you mean? What do you mean by have faith and trust the process? Right? It's where you already done what you can already, right? You just need to believe that all things are possible. You just need to trust it, right? And faith is basically seeing the light in your heart, even though what you see around you is darkness. You just see it differently. All right. So to sum it up, I feel that problems sometimes are just like washing machines lah. It will just twist us, turn us, spin us, but eventually we will definitely come out cleaner, brighter, and better than before. Okay, so my conclusion is just be bold enough and do it afraid. And I believe that 2021 will be another great year for every one of us here. And I believe that Pre-Eminent Group are really preparing to scale everyone up to the next level. So I wish everyone all the best. And thank you so much for your time. Beyond, I'll pass it to you.
All right. So, that was really some great sharing, right, that we actually have from Avim. Initially, I told him, I said that, I'll be just behind you. I'll be behind the scenes so that anything, right, if there's any question or anything like that, right, I'll be there to actually help you, to back you up. But it seems like, throughout this whole entire session, right, he did not actually need me at all. So I really felt that was some really great sharing, right, that he actually shared with us. And it was really a very, very vulnerable session because nobody will actually think of just sharing his thoughts and anything like that just over Zoom, So yeah, we really appreciate your time, Kelvin. Kelvin, Avim, and of course, yeah. One thing I also remember, right, Avim. Remember that we were actually speaking to each other, right? And then you were mentioning that you intend to actually do some series of videos, right? Yeah, so if you guys are really keen, right, just sign up, right, on his Instagram, his YouTube channel, his Facebook, so that you guys will be updated, right, in future for all his subsequent videos. Because moving on forward in 2021, that is his goals and plans to actually get more clients and co-leads, right, through all these prospecting methods. And of course, if you want to learn from him, and I'm sure that Avim himself is a very selfless person, okay, that will be actually sharing with you. So if you are free or something like that, just feel free to actually drop him a call to give him to ask him for advice, or even have a coffee session with him. He'll be most glad to actually share with you. Okay, with that, I thank you guys for our last session of Level Up for this year, and we'll see you next year. All right, thank
See
you.
you. Bye bye.
Bye.